This is the Bill Squire Show.
Hey, I'm here with Brent Terhune, one of my favorite comedians working today, and he's originally he's still living in Indianapolis, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're blowing up right now.
Thanks, man.
Your videos they're so funny, and I think in a way the quarantine, everyone being on social media so much right now, and the world being the hotbed of bullshit that it is, you're doing a great job with your parody and your satire, and really carving a nice fan base out for yourself.
Yeah, thanks. But first, I want to apologize that my complexion with these lights, I look like a ghost. But normally that's how I look anyway, so it's perfect. But yeah,
We've seen the video.
I tried to just use the quarantine time to to get the most out of it, because you're not able to tour, I'm not able to tour, nobody's going to shows if there are any, I think. So I just tried to use the time as best as possible, and so far I think it's been working out okay.
Yeah, man, you got 200,000 followers or have you passed that on Twitter?
I think so. I think I'm at like 215 maybe. It's weird, at the beginning of quarantine I was about like 23,000.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 months, I don't know what it's been, I've jumped to just today, I think was 215. I don't know. I'm trying not to be the guy that's like, whoa, my number's like, but it's still cool to watch,
It's cool to watch, because every time I check, like I like reading your bio, and I like going to your profile, because for those of you who don't know, Brent does these videos where he acts like a Trump supporter that is mad about whatever the topic of the day was. The most recent one was Trump's visit to the
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
And you just layer in these jokes while you're ranting, so it comes across like you're doing this whole pro-Trump rant, but if you pay attention, you hear the jokes and you see how silly it is. And the best part is, I'm going to say your performance is actually the best part, because it's really well written and well performed, which is what allows you to have those responses where people don't understand that it's satire, and they go in on you, and then watching like this legion of fans that you have now just light them up, and you get to light them up a bit, and they're not even dicks about it. They're just like, hey man, you're not paying attention to this, really.
Yeah, and some of those are my favorites. If somebody, like, it's one thing if they just call me stupid, but a lot of them they'll be like, you're stupid, YOUR,
right,
stupid, which is always every video has one of those. But it's better if you like roast me creatively. I respect that way more than just somebody swearing at me, which is funny too. But if you can come up with something creative about my appearance or something like that, that's really funny to me.
What are some of your favorites that people have said about you that you're like, okay, that's a pretty funny line?
This guy one time was like, he's like, man, his bitch ass lives in a trailer park. Why don't you cut my grass or something? That it was a very vague, why don't you cut my grass or something? Why don't you do some kind of manual labor around here?
It sounds like he's just overwhelmed. He's like, or something. I need help. Yeah. I got to cut the grass. I got to paint the house. I got to clean up all these shrubs. I got to mulch. I got a lot to do. So if you could come over and help me out, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't like you so much, I'll let you do my chores. But that was my my Facebook header for a while, was that guy's response. And then some of them, I don't know, there's always like, oh, I bet this guy bangs his sister, because the inspiration for the character is those guys, you see them and they rant in their trucks. That's the whole thing, and that's not gonna go away, because there's always something I call it like a front seat philosopher, these guys that think they can solve the world from the front seat of the truck, and they're always kind of like redneck type guys. And I wouldn't call myself a redneck. That's how I bill it, because whenever you see those videos, it's always like redneck slams NFL or something like that. So that's why I started doing that. And then sometimes I don't even say I'm a redneck, and people will be like, dude, you're such a funny redneck. I'm like, I'm not really a redneck, I don't think. But if that's what you think of me, sure.
So you've done so many of these, dozens of these videos.
Mhm.
And what's the one that's gotten the most views so far?
I mean, in total was like one of the first ones where I burnt Nikes for Colin Kaepernick, which
Yeah.
it's weird to say that I've done 2 of those videos, but the second time when he knelt the first time during the first NFL season, and then the second time he got the contract with Nike, and that seemed to be even bigger.
Yeah.
So I did that one, and that one on Facebook has gotten 8 million views, and now where I get my views has changed over to Twitter, because I think with the way Facebook is, they don't want to push your stuff unless it's I guess, sponsored, or maybe they just suck over there on Facebook. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, I can't
recently,
I can't
yeah,
get
it's
traction on Facebook. I pretty much give because I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be where the people that I want to reach are anymore.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, I still put stuff out there because obviously, and my numbers have grown over there too, which is weird. But mostly it's been Twitter, and I've gotten, I think the last 4 or 5 videos have at least hit 1 million views a piece on those.
Yeah, you were literally trending last week. You said the University of MAGA, or no, it's YouTube University and MAGA Yell Loudly.
Yeah, I went to the University of YouTube and I graduated MAGA Yell Loudly, and I think George Conway was the guy that tweeted it, who I didn't know who he was for a while, but I guess he's Kellyanne Conway's husband, a lawyer, and he retweeted. And then, so anytime you would check that trending thing, it would come up with his tweet captioning mine, and it was, MAGA Yelled Loudly. So then I got a whole bunch of people saying that, like they'll see another video of somebody ranting and be like, this guy graduated MAGA Yelled Loudly, which is really funny.
That's really funny. And Kellyanne Conway's husband, he does not like Trump, which is very funny.
I didn't know the dynamic until people were like, oh, did you see George Conway retweeted you? And I was like, I don't. And then I read it and I was like, he's her husband, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. It's one of those things where I think she's got a paycheck gig and she's just like, I'm just gonna ride this out as long as I can and just do what I can.
Yeah, it's really what a weird dynamic. If you think you and your partner have disagreements, try being them,
Right. So you started doing this a couple years ago, or a few years ago, but you've been doing stand-up for quite some time now. And I went and saw you when you were at the Funny Stop last time, and you are not only very funny on Twitter and Instagram and doing these videos, but you're really funny as a stand-up comedian, and you're just a great joke writer that has just a pure stand-up comic who just goes up there and just does great bits and lots of great tags, and you're just incredibly funny. So I want people, you have albums out, right?
I have one album out now called Mr. Turkey, and I'm in the process of editing my second one. At the time of this recording, it's July, but I recorded it New Year's of last year. So I got one more edit, and I'm going to send it to somebody else to listen to, and then it should be out.
Okay, well that's very exciting. When it comes out, let me know.
Yeah,
because I'll definitely help get it out there. And so you also, did you get married last year?
Married. It's been a weird. Yeah, I bought a house, got married. So yeah, I'm in. This is what the office room. I hate to say office because it sounds pretentious, so I just say it's got a bunch of toys in it because I'm an adult child.
I'm my own version of that because I'm in my spare bedroom that I've turned into a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And, just a bunch of shoes behind me. That's all I've got in here. And then,
are you a sneaker? Would you call yourself that?
Yeah, I've gotten into that world, and there's enough shoes around me that I feel like, I think I can officially say that now. And it's a lot of fun, especially one of those things like during quarantine, I needed something to do. And so it's become a nice hobby for me because for a long time, and this, when you're doing stand-up, it's really hard to have a nice hobby that you can do, especially when you're starting out and you don't have any money.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to find those free hobbies. When forever, the hobby was stand-up. I'm sure it was the same for you. And then you get to a certain level of doing it for years, and then you kind of need a break from that break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So behind me, I don't know if you can tell, but it's a whole bunch of horror stuff. So my wife and I love to go to horror conventions. We love horror movies and stuff like that. So this is pretty much all original art bought from artists, which is really cool.
That's very cool. What's your like? What genre of do you like? All horror, or is there like one that you lean more to when it comes
Uh,
to?
Probably. I mean, I like slashers genre as far as, and if people are unfamiliar, that would be Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and stuff like that. But I try to watch most horror movies if I can, if there's a lot of buzz around them, and then sometimes, as well as I do, you'll watch a movie that's terrible on Amazon Prime, 1 star, and there's a reason it's got 1 star type thing. And those are fun too. But yeah, I try to watch a lot of horror stuff, and that's something I would like to do eventually is have some kind of horror short. That's another thing I've been working on during quarantine is just anything to be creative, and I think horror is to me is easier because I don't have to be funnier. I'm sure it's very hard if I try to actually do it. So I'm not trying to disrespect anybody that's good at horror, but it's just what that thing where you have to be funny is there's so much pressure to be funny.
Right. I think I'm not super into horror, but the horror movies that I do like are the ones that have a good story and they build tension nicely. And so when you don't have that tension, you don't have that the reasoning for it. And that kind of goes away with movies like Jason, where all the sequels come out and they kind of they're just kind of cookie cutters of the original. And there can be some fun parts and there can be campy and there's all these different aspects, but I like just like a nice build to a situation that doesn't always have to get resolved in a nice way either. I don't need a happy ending in a horror movie. The one that I just watched, and I don't know if you call this horror, but the 13 Cameras on Netflix was like a modern kind of horror where it's dealing with a situation that could happen to anybody, where you're renting a house and this guy put all these cameras in there and then he's like just watching and just preying on these people.
I have not. My wife has watched that one. She said it was good, but I have not seen that one yet. But that's on the list to watch because there's now like weird genres of modern horror because with we don't have to keep talking about horror, but with like Scream, that was kind of like the game changer of horror recently, where everything was so meta as far as they're talking about horror in horror. Right. And then there was kind of like Saw was kind of like the next wave. And now we're kind of in I don't know what the next trend would be. I guess like Paranormal Activity was kind of the found footage type thing too.
Yeah. And that kind of played off of Blair Witch. And then I think you got for a little while, there's a lot of technology based horror that's coming out now. So you have like this 13 Cameras, you have, the one where it was like the app that would tell you when you die. I didn't see that one.
Unfriended was the other one, which is what we're doing right now.
But I appreciate horror. I just don't go very deep into it. There was one on Netflix. What is it called? It's it was the violin, or they're playing cello.
Okay. I haven't seen that either. That it's weird because there's like so many ones that I haven't seen. So I spent a lot of the quarantine going back and watching a whole bunch of have you ever seen Salem's Lot?
No, I never saw that one.
It's a made for TV movie, so it is 4 hours long, but it's really done. And that was kind of the gem that I watched. That was my one that out of quarantine I was like, man, I really like that one. And I'm not even like a vampire type guy either, but I really like that one.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like I'm not a super big horror fan, but there are horror movies that I absolutely love. Like I still love The Shining. I just watched the Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep.
That was another one I watched too. I really like that.
I thought that was very good. And the one that I was talking about is called The Perfection, and that's that one's really fucked up. It's real dark. It's but it was good. It was very good, and it's got a lot of twists in it, and that's like keeping me on my toes and not just being like the. And I do have a place for like the slashy or like the campy slasher films where it's just like tits and blood and stuff like that. But those don't hold up the way they used to for me. So I like something that's got a nice story where I'm like going to not get grossed out, but I'm going to be uncomfortable. I don't like that stuff either.
And now, as an adult, I think if you can watch something that'll make you feel uncomfortable later, that's scarier than scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
especially if it's a setting where you're going to be later, like a lot of like a home invasion type movie. There's one on Netflix, I think, still called Hush, where the premise is the lady is deaf So she's alone in her house, and this guy, is kind of around her house. Anytime where, especially if you're in your home and that's where you're supposed to be safe,
Yeah.
and then you're not, that's the thing that's scary to me.
Yeah, I think The Strangers is one of the scariest movies that I saw in theaters, was because it's this idea is that you're going to this cabin, it's a getaway, you're supposed to be safe, you're supposed to be okay there, but then there's also that scariness of, oh, there's no one around. So if people do want to fuck with you, then they can do it in a big way. So as far as stand-up going, I know you're not really out on the road anymore.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you have been paying attention to some of the things that have been going on with stand-up comedy in, the Crystalia situation, and a lot of guys getting called out for being creeps, which is nothing new for stand-up comedy.
Yeah. It's weird. And then you see like something that which I'm not 100% up to date on the Crystalia thing. I get the gist of it. But then you see stories from not even female comics, but just women in general, how many times that type of thing happens, where there's a guy that just not even like won't take no for an answer, that type thing. Not even like I don't know, an assault type thing, but a guy that just is relentless. You're just like, come on, man, just leave people alone.
Well,
just stop being douchebags. It's disheartening to find out how many stories people have,
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends that have been through that, and it's, they're exhausted by it. So when I see them sharing these different things and these experiences, I just try to be very aware of it, and I also try to understand that it's like there's a responsibility to like call it out when you see it. So and especially, we're not in LA, so it's not like I'm going to be able to call out Crystalia for anything. It's going to have any impact at all. But I know that in Cleveland, I am someone that people know. So if I see something creepy going on, I gotta step up and do my part to try and shut it down.
Yeah, you hope if you notice something like that you have the courage, in the moment to be like, come on, like this is not right. And then in hindsight, if you didn't do it then, at least in hindsight, that you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I should reach out to the proper people.
Yeah.
Just because, if people are not told no, then they'll keep doing it. And we've also learned that if they're told no, they will keep doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it takes to somebody to be ostracized from a scene. I don't know what that takes, but whether it's in comedy or not, they might just go do it elsewhere because they're that type of garbage person.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you can do if you're in a scene that's smaller, like Indianapolis or Cleveland, or wherever, or just whatever you do on your daily life, is just not feed into that culture. Like I've definitely had my ladies' man's years where I was like hooking up with girls, but it was never that situation where it was predatory. And if it was, I haven't heard anything in that way. I don't even know if this is one of those things where I like it was a back and forth, because I like that back and forth. Like if a girl's into me, that's what turns me on.
Yeah.
Like if a girl's not into it, then I'm just like, I got you. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done the situation where like I thought I was in love with a girl because she was friends with me, and I didn't know how to, like, I was like the friend zone sad guy from like the 80s teen movie, and I thought that's how life was supposed to go. But I never went to that point where I'm like gonna stalk her or anything like that, or just not take no for an answer. And I think just having that culture is important of, hey, yeah, everybody likes to have sex, everybody wants to have sex, but it's got to be above board, and it's got to be the right situation, and you can't pressure people into that, and you shouldn't treat people differently, especially within like the comedy scene. Like I don't really mess with female comics, and I never have, other than like one.
Yeah, it's weird. Did you in high school,
and it was very consensual, by the
way? In high school or in college, did you have like any kind of I guess when I took it in high school, and I don't even remember it was this way per se, but it was like a relations class. not sex, but you learn how to like navigate a relationship, because that's something that should, as much as teaching you how to learn taxes and stuff, just learn the dynamics of it and every situation is different, but at least give you some kind of education on that type of thing, you know?
Well, I did not. And to like, if there was anything close to that, it was something that I learned in church because I
Yeah.
was raised Mormon. And so that dynamic is very different than any relationship that I've ever actually had. So
Mhm.
what they, they're more of a patriarchy type situation where it's like the man is in control and the woman's got to be submissive to him and blah, blah. And
As it should be. I'm just joking.
right. And I've been more of the, hey, let's be partners and do whatever we can and try and help each other out wherever we can. And there's gonna be situations where it's gonna be more on me or more on my partner, but it's not one person's higher than the other. It's supposed to
Mhm.
be about being equals and being able to navigate that situation together.
Yeah, I mean, that's how my wife and I look at it as far as, if one of us is struggling, then the other one's struggling, but then the other one will carry the load for a minute.
Mhm.
And it's always weird when you hear guys like they can't stand that like their girlfriend or wife makes more money than them or whatever stupid reason. And to me, I'm always like, by all means,
Yeah,
make
go make
more
that
money.
money.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't care for 1 second. And I have a friend and she's a realtor and she works her ass off and she makes a ton of money. And she had an ex-boyfriend that like was really offended by that because he was all about living a big life about like, he wasn't rich, but he would drive a fancy car that he couldn't really afford that had like
Mhm.
a ridiculous payment on. And so he felt very emasculated by that situation. And the funny part is his family was also in an incredible amount of debt because that's how he was taught. So like
Mhm.
all this like masculinity and like trying to like show off and be this tough guy was really just a facade of a bunch of tension and stress that just goes through his whole family because they're all trying to act like they have more than they do.
It's that that guy that has kids, and he never says "I love you," but then his way of getting out his emotions is like laying under his truck working on it, and that's how he dies.
Yeah.
Just like bottles it up till he has that heart attack laying underneath his truck or something. But it's that weird gender thing where you're taught that the man's got to be the breadwinner, and that's not even the case anymore. It should have never been the case in the first place, or that now where they're like, "Oh, my wife stays at home and now the man works." I mean, nobody who can do that anymore
And
on one person's salary.
it's ridiculous. And my girlfriend doesn't live with me, but she stayed with me a lot during the quarantine. And she was out of work because she works in a restaurant that shut down and just opened about 2 months ago. But for those, like, there was a good 2 months where she didn't work at all. And
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, she needs to work. She likes her job. And her being home caused serious problems for her because she was so depressed and didn't know what to do with herself. So,
Mhm.
like that, like her job, she doesn't want to have kids or anything like that. So her job is a very big part of who she is. And when she wasn't able to go and do that, she felt useless. And so I get why, like, if that's what works with you and you want to have that kind of dynamic, that's fine. But that's not anything that I've ever seen work out in a super healthy way where someone has more power than the other person in a relationship.
Yeah, that's the thing where then you can kind of hold over whatever area of power that you have over the other person. That should never be like that anyway. But
Mhm.
that's the weird thing is, if people are not taught that way, they just get it from their parents or whoever their role models were at the time. And who knows if that was a healthy situation to even emulate in the first place, like the example you gave with having all this debt.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things too is where I like my parents taught me a lot of lessons, but I also took it upon myself to figure out what was good that they taught me and what was not good and what was like what's going to work for me. And I think it's very strange when people get into that lane where they're like, "Oh, it's how I was raised," and they don't ever want to actually. And then they'll call their people sheep. I mean, that's kind of what your character is when you're doing those rants.
Yeah.
Like they don't actually have. They call other people sheep for following, rules like wearing a mask and stuff like that. But the reason I wear a mask is because I've done enough in my life to know how to I know how to handle critical thinking and actually assess the information that I've been given and decide what's best for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big part of the character is, whatever the trend is, you automatically just have to go the opposite way and find some reasoning behind to not do that. And they'll, like, a lot of these people that I follow online to get inspiration are always, they always call people sheep, and
Yeah.
they do the opposite, and they claim to be free or critical thinkers when really what the trend is would be the way to critical think. And it's it's just a weird dynamic of how something as simple as wearing a mask, like, they'll say they're never going to wear a mask because they don't want to follow the trends or it's their body, but then they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't be able to get an abortion because that it's your body, your choice type thing is per case basis, not all around.
The hypocrisy runs rampant through these situations, and it's one of those things where that's one of the reasons I got out of the religion that I was brought up in, because I feel like I was raised as a liberal because that's what all the things in the church taught me. And then when I found, like, I didn't pay attention to politics, so I thought that Republicans were more like liberals and liberals were more like Republicans. And then I like grew up and started doing some research and figuring things out. And I was like, oh, well, why wouldn't we want to help people? You taught me all these Christian values, and then you said, but when it comes to money, we're supposed to abandon that. We're supposed to like just cast, like, we're supposed to look at people that need help and be like, but they kind of put themselves in that situation, so fuck them. It's weird.
Yeah, it's that, and I have a line that I'll go to all the time with the character. It's, one version of I'm Christian religion, but far from Christ like in my actions, or the other version is you can't tell by my words and actions, but I'm a Christian. That type of thing.
So funny and so on point.
And that's the thing with that character is like, especially with science. Science is willing, if they say wear a mask, and then it comes out that, hey, that doesn't really work. Science will say, don't do that.
Yeah.
But then with those types of people, they'll just be like, oh, they were wrong. You can't trust them. That's the thing, is they're not willing to change their thought process when new evidence right. is presented.
Because it's like a course that's always correcting itself. And that's how science works, is it's constantly correcting itself. And this is something I get into it with my dad about, because he holds on to straw man theories like they are gospel because of his love of confirmation bias, where he wants to believe that climate change is fake. So he gets a situation or an example that he likes, reads a book that he likes, and treats that as gospel, versus all this other information that has come out and disproves that information. But he just hangs on to that because, in a way, he feels cool. And that's why I think deep down he's like, I'm against the system. I'm against, he's like a hard libertarian, and he's really into feeling like he knows something that other people don't know.
Yeah. It's that weird thing where you got to hold your own beliefs, but sometimes, I mean, at this point, don't we all kind of agree, or at least assume the earth is round? And at that, does it even matter?
Right.
Does that matter, first off? But, isn't it just easier to agree with certain things, as far as like, why is this such a fight for certain things?
Because it makes them feel special. It makes them feel like they're interesting, and it gives them a certain level of control that they usually lack in other parts of their life. Because a lot of the times, like, you'll watch these people that feel a certain way, like the flat earthers, which I keep coming back to. Like, I feel like I've talked about flat earthers in almost every single episode of this podcast.
It was not set up, by the way. I brought it up.
I know, but they're just very interesting because they're just so the way that they are given information, and then the way they dismiss it is baffling. And then you realize, okay, this isn't about what they actually believe. It's about what they want to do. And what they want to do is try and bring people to them. It's cult-like in a way.
Mm-hmm. It is very much so. And it's like you said, it's just having that alternative belief because it's cool or something. And that's a lot with, it's kind of like trolling in real life, where you may not even agree with the thing that's being discussed, but you automatically take the other side, which is not always bad to have that discussion. But at a certain point, you also have to at least acknowledge data and studies and stuff, because at a certain point, so everybody's in on whatever you think is fake, and so everybody at that point, it's just like, then if that's fake, then what else is fake? And they'll be like, oh, but that's what the government, they want to lie to you. And like, yeah, we already know they lie to us. That's the thing.
We know that
it's
they
not
lie
a surprise,
but we know they're also not the greatest at lying to us, and we know that when they do lie to us, it's usually not the things that you're talking. And it's usually it's not these mass cover-ups like the earth being flat, because there's and like when they throw the George Soros out there and stuff like that. I just saw some thread about a guy that was saying that Beyonce is not even black, she's Italian, she's just paid by, and I'm just like, and then the whole thread goes on, and he's just all this stuff about Beyonce being part of that stuff, and then a black guy comments and says, you guys will believe, white people will believe anything except that systemic racism exists. And I'm just like, on point, man, on point. It's real hard for him.
And then be like, that can't be racist because she's Italian. Like, why does that matter if she's Italian or not? It's just, a lot of these they're conspiracy theories. No, it's really interesting to read up on some of these things, but it's also very tiresome to keep finding ways that stuff is wrong, because at a certain point that's true. Some stuff is just a lie, but also it's also like, can't you just enjoy something every once in a while?
Right, and that's the thing too, is like, on the other side of the coin, yes, there's a lot of terrible things that have happened in America. But I still want to eat a hot dog and like have, watch fireworks on the 4th of July. So like, I understand, I can see both sides of it. Yes, we've done all these terrible things, but there's also a lot of good things that the country's done. So I have pride in America, and I have hope that we can get better. So I'm going to enjoy my 4th of July and not act like this is the worst place in the world to live. And Patrice O'Neill does a great bit about this. Show me the place that's better for me to live, because right now it's here. And he has a line that makes me laugh. What, I'm going to be back in Africa fighting in sweatpants and tuxedo shoes.
Tuxedo shoe, yeah. That's really funny.
It's just really funny. Like, paints a great picture in the head. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much, Brent, for being on. You can follow Brent on Twitter and Instagram at Brent Terhune, and check out his satire videos. And then check out his comedy album, Mr. Turkey, which is very funny. And then he's got another album coming out soon.
Yeah, it'll be out sometime in 2020. So watch my social media for all that stuff. Thanks for having me on the Bill Squire Show, Bill Squire.
Thanks for being on, and hopefully we'll talk again soon. And when your album comes out, let me know. We'll have you back on.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Hi, Tori. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. This is our second try. We've had some technical problems. We're doing things remotely so we can stay, do the social distancing thing. And I think that's very important right now, especially just for one, to set an example, and to just absolutely keep people as safe as we can when absolutely necessary. Like, there's situations where you're going to have to go out, you have to go to work, you have to do things like that. But if you don't have to, then why should we put each other in danger of spreading something if we don't have it?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely hard to even detect if you have it. So it's just bad play overall.
Mm-hmm. So you work as a bartender right now, and you worked at Corky's for a couple years now, right?
Yes, I've been there for soon it'll be 4 years. So
wow.
I've been there for a while. Yes. So being a bartender, right now I can't really go around family and things of that nature. I mean, I could, but I could be putting them, at risk. So I've kind of, staying with myself, or staying with, I live by myself, or going out with people that I'm with working. So I have a very tight friendship with a lot of the girls that I've been working.
And you guys have a lot of fun, and I haven't been back up there since things have reopened, but I love going to Corky's. I love you guys make it very fun any night of the week, and you're also real professional at getting like drinks out fast. So like I really appreciate, because that can be a wild bar. That can be, I mean, it can get so packed in there, and I always feel like you guys do a good job of keeping up with that pace, which I think is incredibly difficult to do. So you got a Venmo. Let's throw it out there and get you some tips right now.
Oh yes. Let's. My Venmo's Toro Tori, TOROTORI.
All right, I'll put it on the screen when I edit this. So we'll get you a little, maybe a couple bucks here and there. But so you're a bartender. Are you in school too, or did you?
I actually am in school. I did take a semester off because I also work at a law firm during the day. So
Okay.
it was just, I had to adjust to that because I don't like my grades to suffer. So I need to adjust to anytime I change something, like, do something big in my life, I have to make sure that my schoolwork doesn't suffer. So I start back again on the 10th. I do classes online. I went from Cleveland State, and then now I'm just doing classes online through another college that I'm very happy about. So I'll be back again on the 10th.
And what are you going to school for?
So I was a political science major, which is something that it's definitely a battle for me because I'm very passionate about things that I believe in, and when I learn something and it pops to me and it like makes sense off a personal experience, I get even more like, I guess involved in the situation, and I'm like, I can't debate without my emotions getting into it. So I'm like, maybe that's not the field for me because I will leave work upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that's passion though. I think that's okay to have. I mean, leaving work upset. I mean, I have a job where sometimes I leave work upset over things that happen or things that are out there in the world. And if you have the opportunity to make some sort of change, that's what you have to work for. So sometimes you're going to be upset. So
it's definitely I've learned so much though. So I guess a lot of the things that I get angry about in that field, or when I'm learning something new, or American history or anything like that, I guess when I do learn it, I'm upset for the time that the information's being given to me. But then it's helped me so much in the last couple months with the reason why I wanted to be so involved in the protest, because I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always. I remember in 2016 when Black Lives Matter became this huge thing and people start talking about Black Lives Matter. I remember I made a status like, well, all lives matter. And some guy, like, if I can remember his username, I will reach out to him and thank him, because he was like, wait, how can all lives matter if Black lives don't? And I didn't understand what that meant. So me being the person I am, I worked with this guy who was very involved in the Black Lives Matter movement. And he sat down with me and he talked to me, and we talked for a while. And that was back in 2016. So now that I hear these words, it comes out a lot more clear. Like, I understand, I know what it means. But that wasn't like someone said something to me. Right. Yeah. Someone didn't say something to me and I was like, no, that's not right. It was like, oh, well, let me go look and see what he's saying, because I don't know. I'm ignorant to this. So why not go educate myself and find out exactly what it means, especially being that Black life that I want to matter.
Yes. And just having that ability to get new information and change your mind, I think, is a very important thing, because there's so many people that just hold steadfast and they don't care about what's right or what's wrong. They care about being right. And that's just not how you progress as a society. You don't, if you just shut yourself off to other people's experiences and write them off as some sort of other culture that isn't concerning to you, then you're going to keep us in this stalemate where nothing's moving forward.
Right. I definitely agree with that. I also feel, because of my experience personally as a Black woman, and writing that on social media and not knowing anything about it, when I see someone comment to me on what I say and they try and stir up drama or argument or something like that, I think, maybe this person, they could either do what I did, because it's not your job as, it's not your job to tell someone what to do, but also to, as a woman that has seen so many people say over and over again, like, why doesn't my life matter? Why doesn't my life matter? It's almost like you kind of get sick of saying the same things and bringing it out. After a while, you just get tired. And now I see I see people who are coming out, like my white friends who are just they're very passionate about the situation, and they're educating their cousins and their grandmas and their aunts and their uncles. And I'm like, whoa, this is what we need. Like, this is beautiful.
Right. And that's it. So, and those, when you speak up for what you believe in, and when you are firm with it and you're not making jokes about it, and you're being that passionate about it, then that's when I think it really speaks to people. Oh, my YouTube video ended. Hold on. 1 second. So I play my hold on a second. All right, there we go. This has been the most problems I've had recording any episode so far. So congratulations.
I get to be I'm the first. I get to be the first of something.
Yes, I mean I've recorded a bunch of episodes, but this is the one that like everything just keeps going kind of wrong. But it doesn't matter. We're moving forward. Okay, let's talk about fitness, because you're also really into the fitness world, and honestly, it comes through in your posts on your Instagram. You have a great body, and I mean like a body that you worked for. Like, that's not a body that you went and bought or anything like that. You put the time and effort in the gym, and I'm sure with the diet too, to get the results that you wanted.
Yes, dieting is so hard, and I know everyone knows that. Everyone knows that.
It's so hard.
However, the quarantine is that put a huge like damper and like made me so sad that I wasn't able to get to the gym and work out. I did meet up with one of my friends who works out, just as much as I do, and we pushed each other through. But also too, you get home at night and you're like, oh, those chips look so good, or oh, those Oreos look so good. So now
Oreos.
Oreos
I got
are my
Oreos
favorite.
right now. I love Oreos. I like the thin. Have you had the Oreo thins?
I like the thin ones.
Yeah, me too. The thin ones are very good, and then you don't feel as bad when you eat a whole sleeve of them.
Well, I didn't feel. At first I felt great. My sister, one day I'm eating. I'm like, I only had 9 Oreos today, and she goes, "Do you know how many calories are in the Oreo?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, I just had 9. Like, I only had 9 Oreos. They're this big, 260 calories each."
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
a lot.
In an Oreo, and so I did finish the bag of Oreos, but I have not purchased another, thing of Oreos since then, which now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want some. Oreo does not count. But yeah, working out now is definitely, I'm getting back into routine. It's hard, but it's coming.
So what's your favorite workout to do? Like the one that like is going to make you feel the best, and then what's your least favorite too?
Oh, my butt. Like anything to do with glutes, that's my thing. So I love squatting. I used to get on the abductor machine, and I would try and like go over my weight to like really, because I want the big butt. But there was this girl
that
I used
big
to look
firm
at.
butt though.
Yeah, the big workout booty.
Yeah.
But the whole time I had to do it myself, because I looked at this girl and I used to watch the workouts she was doing and like kind of like following her, which was a bad idea for me to do because I loved her body. However, I found out she, you know, she gets her butt done, and I'm like, God damn it, I love her so much, and I thought doing this was gonna get me there.
Betrayed.
So I had to I had to get myself together so that way I could do what worked best for me. So that's my favorite. My least favorite, arms. I am like anything like upper body is just not my. I'm that girl that if you need the pickle jar open, like if I'm like struggling to open it and you open it like fully, I'm like, oh, I loosened it for you, because that's me. I'm terrible with the arms. But
I'm the exact opposite. I'm the other way. I can do arms all day. If I do anything like glutes or anything like that, I just fall apart. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I think everyone has like their love, like their thing that they can just go to. Like I know I have friends that just run all day, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like I could run for an hour max, and I'm power walking majority of that time. So when they're just on there just running, I'm like, oh yeah, I know my weaknesses, and I am I'm like here to admit that that's not for me.
And running's just so goddamn boring too. Like I'm not a good runner, but even when I was at like my peak of being able to run, I was still like just bored. I need something mixed in with it to make it more exciting. Going back to your butt real quick, you and Spencer, you guys have these pants that I got my girlfriend a pair of them for Christmas. Those the Tinas, I think they are.
Yes, our babies.
They are the best like pants. If you want your butt to look good, they have they just make. My girlfriend's got a great butt too, so I got her a pair of these pants, and like I just, you guys always post pictures wearing them, so I just want to give those pants a shout out because they make your butt look real good.
Yeah, I saw Spencer wear them a couple times at the bar, and one customer took a picture of her butt because her butt's amazing. And I was like, I'm getting those pants. I literally posted a picture of her butt for her birthday one time, and I looked at him and I was like, I'm getting those pants. And ever since then, like, she got me on, and I'm hooked. I'm hooked.
No, they're great. They're great.
But listen to Meg the Stallion and the Baby. They'll make you want to like get your booty real big. That's like it's all in the music. If I want nice arms, I'll probably listen to like some, I don't know, some like fist
pumping like rock. Yeah.
I know for the butt, like for the booty, I am definitely full on Meg the Stallion, like Nicki Minaj. Anybody with a fat ass or promotes fat booties, I want to listen to you because you know what you're talking about.
I feel like I've aged into being a butt guy. I was predominantly a boob guy in my younger days, but I think as I've grown older, I just really appreciate a butt more than I ever have before. And I think we're living in the golden age of butts right now because people are focusing on them. And like when you go back and you watch old movies and you see like these girls that were like the hot girls back in the day and they just got these flat asses, you're like, how was this okay? How are we able to do this?
And they're like the ones that are like the hot chick that like the lights glow. You know how the old movies are, like it's like glowing around them and like they're walking super slow motion. And I'm like, can I walk in slow motion like that and get glorified for having a little, baby junk in the trunk? I'm not all the way there.
In this day and age, now you can because that's what people want. But back in the day, they just all had that cocaine body that was just not great.
The cocaine body.
Yeah, that's what because they're all whacked out on coke back in like the 70s and 80s. So that's what I think of. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on my podcast and being this week's Alan Cox Show Instagram hottie. Check Tori out on Instagram. I'll put what's your Instagram? It's Toraholic?
Yes. Toraholic.
And then give me that Venmo one more time.
It's going to be TOROTORI. Toro Tori.
All right. Send her a couple bucks. Go see her at Corky's in Lakewood and follow her on Instagram. And thank you so much, Tori. Appreciate you chatting with me.
Thank you.
We are back from vacation.
Woohoo!
We went on vacation, went to the Poconos, which is in Pennsylvania. See, people don't seem to know where the Poconos are.
I think there's two Poconos. Yeah. I think there's islands and mountains.
Yeah, it's just mountains. I don't think there's Poconos Island. But we're back. But don't worry, we're still drinking here.
Yeah.
It's not just a vacation thing for us. We drink.
It's more like an everyday problem.
It's not a problem yet.
Yet. I don't... Okay, we'll get to that later.
Is it a problem?
I don't know.
Is it?
No!
So then it's fine. We get to our jobs. We do what we're supposed to do. We don't have DUIs. We don't drink and drive. We're fine.
That's real. Okay, fine. Not a problem.
All right.
I take it back.
All right. But we got there. Went to, we had like a condo in a pretty shut down resort. So there wasn't a lot of stuff to do. But we still had a very good time because of alcohol and just having fun with each other. And we went to the pool, did things like that.
The pool was so cold. Oh my God.
So cold. But I was the hero at the pool one day because while we were there, there's this like Latino family that was there, and they're like playing all their like rumba music, which was like really fun music to listen to. And their speaker died. And like I was drinking by the pool and I'm feeling good, and then this gets all quiet and all you hear is like the splishy splash sound, and I'm like, this is awkward. I'm like, where did the music go? And they're like, our speaker died. And I'm like, oh, I got my speaker, and they're like, hooray! And everybody cheered and turned the music back on, and it made some old white people unhappy, but I had fun.
It was very fun.
It was fun. It was good. Like
I liked them. They were nice.
They were very nice and they were very fun. And I don't know. I feel like it was a good social distancing vacation overall because we really didn't interact with people like close
At all.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like we played tennis, just me and you. We were the only ones on like the indoor courts. We played miniature golf, but there's like other people there. But mostly we did not social distance from bugs. There's a lot of bugs.
They didn't social distance from us.
Well, they don't know.
Get with the program.
Bugs watch Fox News, so they think like, oh, I don't have to. I don't have to social distance. It's all a hoax.
Ugh.
But I don't know. The jacuzzi was a lot of fun.
Jacuzzi was in the room, so that was very fun.
All right. Before we get to the jacuzzi, because I feel like the jacuzzi is definitely the highlight of the trip. The first thing right off the bat when we got there, the door to our room wouldn't close.
It wouldn't lock. Like, it would close, but it wouldn't lock.
It went like all the way closed. So like if you just pushed on the door lightly, it would just
open.
like pop open. And they had to send out a guy with like a file, and he fixed it and was able to make it close, and that's good. And also the room was not nice. Like I got a real good deal on this, and I still feel like I was a little ripped off because the room was, like, I mean, the jacuzzi was awesome. The fireplace was cool. Mostly the only thing I had a problem with was that couch.
The couch sucked.
That couch was so terrible.
So
it's like
bad.
this old ass couch.
It's like you're sitting on a piece of cardboard.
Got another one of these for this idiot. All right. Beat it. All right. So we get there. We get that lock situation taken care of. We go to try and find a place to eat.
Oh, jeez.
And this map that they
You
gave
were
us.
hangry.
Well, it was, I wouldn't say hangry. I was on the verge of hangry. I don't think you've actually seen me hangry.
Okay.
Hangry Bill is a very different situation than what I was. I was just ready to eat. And I was annoyed because like the map that they gave us was a trash map.
It was so bad. Oh my! It's like not even all the street names were printed.
It looked like it was like hand drawn. It was photocopied 6 billion times. So it was just like an idea of what could have been there at one point. It was like using a pirate's treasure map, but it was ripped off. Like,
There's a
like
piece missing.
Yeah, piece missing.
Oh, it was a terrible map. And then one night we got drunk and I tried to figure out how the map actually went. That was fun.
That was fun. But we found a place to eat, and we went to, it was at the golf course there, which I don't like golf, but I love golf courses.
What do you love about them?
I just like the way they look. I think they're just very beautiful. The really manicured landscape of it all is really beautiful to look at. Like, I don't play golf, but I really like the greens and stuff. It looks cool. So we go and we eat dinner at this golf club, and we are very out of place.
Very out of place. And one of like 3 tables in the whole place.
So everyone's all, again, social distance pretty well. And everyone in this place was wearing masks. Like, they're everywhere we went in a public place, people had masks, and they're very diligent about that. So I got to give Pennsylvania credit for that. Sorry. Maybe it is a problem.
It's just the bubbles.
It's just the bubbles. we'll just say that. So we go in there and we get some food, and it's okay food. It's not great food, but it's okay. And I was hungry.
It was edible.
It was edible. It got the job done. But the best part of that whole situation was listening to this table that was like across the way from us, and you couldn't hear them, but I could. And this lady was talking about they just went to a strip club for the first time like that weekend.
Yeah.
And she was blown away by her strip club experience, talking about like they were wearing masks, but they weren't wearing anything else, and they're supposed to wear bottoms, but they weren't wearing bottoms. And I can't remember everything that she was
You
saying.
didn't tell me that part.
I was saving it for this part.
Oh my god, they weren't wearing bottoms?
Yeah, they weren't wearing bottoms, and they were. I guess.
And you didn't want to go?
I don't know if it was the one that we were by. I don't like strip clubs that much.
Okay, but it would have been so fun.
All right, well, we can go to a strip club another time. A janky ass strip club if that's what you want.
I think it's hilarious.
Well, good. I would go.
Okay, fine.
Well, that's
Anyways, go on.
So she's talking about that, and the guys the whole time like, yeah, it was a weird place to be. Like, kind of the vibe I got from him was he's been to a lot of strip clubs, and he's trying to play it off like he's never been to a strip club.
Yeah, like he doesn't really know what's going on.
And the wife was just like she's like, and some of the girls were like actually so pretty. I don't even know why they were there. And like that,
Aww.
just all this like belittling
That's such a
talk.
mom
Yeah.
thing to say.
She's like, they could have done anything. And then I like started talking to them, and like I learned that they were going to college and they got kids. And I'm like, you're doing strip clubs all wrong, lady. There's honestly the way I do strip clubs where I'm not too keen on spending all my money on it, all that stuff. So I just talk to them and get to know them, and then they open up. People open up to me pretty easily.
Oh, do they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I feel like that. We were talking about that the other day.
What, me?
Well, you're hard to crack, but I'll get you every once in a while.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll get you. I'll get into you, and then we watched some movies. Cried a lot.
We did cry.
I cried from the Instant Family movie. You cried from Instant Family and
Queen and Slim,
which was a good movie and like more relevant than when it came out, which is crazy. It was great. And then there's the jacuzzi and the alcohol. And the alcohol we drank in the jacuzzi.
Yes.
And we started a fire the first night because it was kind of chilly. Because we had that we did the barbecue. That was fun. That was all on my story on Instagram. But the jacuzzi was our spot.
Jacuzzi was the best. We did that every day, at least once.
Yeah, except the last day. The last day we were kind of like partied out.
Yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah, we did a lot.
We did a lot of drinking.
And in the jacuzzi, someone sent us a request for nudes, and we obliged. Because that's the kind of weekend it was. So we're just like, you want them? You got them. Now send us them back. And so they did, and that was pretty cool.
That was fun.
That was fun. I haven't done that in a minute, other than, we send each other stuff, but not too often.
No, not anymore.
Aw. Do we need to rekindle that fire?
No.
No, you're just right here.
I'm just right here.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, so it was a very fun week and very relaxing. And so if you can go to the Poconos and you want someplace chill to just hang out, go for it. Whoopsie doodle. Quit digging on those stairs.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you.
Come here.
You're a jerk.
Come here.
Is there anything else that you can remember from?
What's on the list?
All right, let's go through the list. We got a list of things that we're supposed to talk to. Pantyhose.
Oh, God. Okay, so
We're talking about dick pics.
Yeah.
And she's talking about, you have received a very low amount of dick pics.
Very small. Maybe like very small. Not the dicks, the amount of pictures.
We got two more things to talk about. Okay, so you got a dick pic.
I got a dick pic from a guy, very unsolicited. And this guy I've known, this whole story is weird. I've known this guy since I was 15. He's the lady who cuts my hair's brother.
Do you want to be this specific about everything?
I'm not telling people his name.
I don't know, but if somebody knows who cuts your hair, whatever. Anyway.
She hasn't cut my hair in a long time, so it's fine. But so out of nowhere, he just sends me this picture of him wearing pantyhose. Like, that was his dick pic to me.
And it was just like him with his dick like mushed up.
I can't do the pose because I'm wearing a dress, but it's like he had one leg up on something and the other one down. And like it was just so weird. And I was at work when I got this, so I like looked at my phone because I had a new message. I was like, okay, what is this? stop biting my butt. And I look at it and I'm just staring at my phone with my jaw on the ground. Julie's like, what? I'm like, come look at this. Oh God, it was terrifying.
Speaking of come look at this, I forgot about the most upsetting part for your mom. The whole thing. You bought some underwear, like an underwear and top set that were, kind of tongue in cheek, just being like silly. And on the butt it says, "Please, Daddy, please," or
it says yes, Daddy, on the butt.
Yes, Daddy, on the butt. And then on the front it says please. And then you took a picture.
You took a picture.
Oh, I took a picture of your butt up in the air with you holding up 2 middle fingers.
My mom's so mad at me.
And you put it on Instagram and Facebook, and your mom was so fucking mad. And you get a lot of joy out of it.
I am. I like making her mad.
That's a fun dynamic to have with your mom, because it's not how making my mom mad. She knows how to play that guilt real hard, because she doesn't get angry. She just gets real sad.
Oh, so see, my mom just gets mad and annoyed at me, and then she just does whatever she does.
But you guys also have a much closer relationship than me and my parents. So, like, if they were to listen to this, which they don't, because they know better, they would be like, I'm not on board with a lot of things you say. Bugs don't watch Fox News.
That's it. That's the one thing.
Nah, there was plenty of things that wouldn't be happy about the nudes that were sent out. I took a great dick pic that was very artistic.
You were really proud of that.
It's a good pic. It's not. I don't have the best dick, so when I get like a good dick pic, I'm like, hey, not too shabby. This one's looking pretty good. It's got some good lighting. It's just a nice pic, and so I appreciate the art of it. There's an art to dick pics.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, you don't know anything about photo shoots. That's what I realized.
No, I don't. That's not something that I do or give a shit about.
I know, and it's funny watching you, like, as me and you tried to like take pictures to post on Instagram. You wanted some thirsty traps, as you call them. We couldn't really figure them out.
I don't care. It's not like
it's not your style.
Not who I am as a
I know,
person.
but it was just fun to go through that all.
The picture that I did post is who I am.
It is absolutely who you are, and I love it.
It's fine.
I love it so much. All right, so thank you so much for going on vacation with me.
Thanks for taking me.
And that was a good
and
time.
leaving the dog at home.
Yes, that was a nice part of it, because she is being treacherous right now. But what are you gonna do? All right, that's the end of this segment.
All right.
Love you.
What? Get out of here.
This is the Bill Squire Show.